everybody, and welcome to Cooking It Real. My name is Kathy, and I'm glad you could join me in my kitchen today. Today, I'm doing sourdough bread. Now you might say, you're doing sourdough bread? What are you doing with that orange? Good question. Actually, I got more than one. Look, see how good I can juggle? Never mind. Anyway, I'm gonna make a classic sourdough bread that is flavored with orange and cranberry. Now, doesn't that just sound like September to you? Orange and cranberry, cranberry and orange. Whew, it's going to be great. First thing we're going to do is start by autolyzing our dough. All right, let's get busy. If you've seen my video before about, I think I called it sourdough, don't be intimidated, you know that the first thing we do is we autolyze our flour and water. And that just means to have it sit together, mix it together, and let it sit for a period of time so that the liquid can start being absorbed into the flour. Or the flour can start absorbing the liquid 50-50, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Anyway, that's how you start. So I have my scale here and my bowl, my favorite bowl for doing dough. I'm going to do 2 loaves of this recipe, and I'm setting it to kilograms. Let's see, it's on kilograms. All right. I found a recipe online called Cranberry Orange Sourdough Bread. And let's see, who was that from? Oh, and the author of that recipe is a gal named Tracy York. Her recipe was for 1 loaf, and generally when I'm making sourdough, I make 2, just because it's easier. It's just as easy to make 2 as it is to make 1, and so I get 1 to eat and 1 for the freezer. Saves me a lot of time. When I looked at a recipe, I found out that it was very much like my basic sourdough recipe, so I just decided I would take the special ingredients and just weave them into my classic sourdough recipe that I have in my head now. I've done it so many times. All right. If you haven't seen my sourdough bread video, I'll link it in the end card and you can check it out. I'm just going to go very briefly over all of the steps this time. Okay. All right. First thing we're going to do, autolyze. All right. I like to mix my flours. I have bread flour and all-purpose flour. I need a total of 1,000 grams of flour. So I do about 50-50. I don't know how much bread flour I have in here, so we'll just have to see how that goes. You can't see my scale, but I can see it just fine. What am I at? I'm at 254. I'm just going to put all of it in. I'm at 348, and we're just going to make it up with bread flour. All right, it's time for me to refill this. I have some more in the pantry, but I don't feel like going and getting it now, and it's not going to make that much of a difference, I don't think. So we're just going to go for it. We're cooking it real. All right, let's get up to 1,000 here. Nice big honka honka. Here we go, 570. 775. Yeah, we're getting there. 867. Ooh, 959. Oop, 1,014. I'll take out just a tiny bit. 999. Oh, mercy. 1,002. I'm calling it. That's plenty good. All right. Then what I like to do when I'm using more than one type of flour, I just like to give the flours themselves a little mix around so that it's not just a big clump of white and a big clump of wheat. All right, now we got our flour. I'm going to put that off to the side. The next thing we have to do is our liquid. This recipe calls for orange zest and orange juice from freshly squeezed oranges, which I have, as you saw, plus water. It also calls for honey. So I got my honey, I've got my oranges, and I've just zested 2 of them. I'm going to start with these. I need about let's see, 2/3 of a cup or about 150 grams, something along those lines. But I do need about, see, half a cup of honey. And so let's see, 10, yeah, about a half a cup of honey. And so I want that to be dissolved in the water. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to put some warm water in here so I can dissolve the honey. All right, let me get some water. All right, that's warm. It doesn't have to be warm, but it's just going to make the honey go easier. And I just realized as I was watching this go around in the microwave that I need to put an empty container onto this scale with no water in it if I'm going to weigh the water. So I'm just going to pour it into that measuring cup I just used. That's almost about a cup of water. Okay, so generally I do about a 70 to 80% hydration. I think I'm gonna do about 75, 76, something like that. So that means with 1,000 grams of flour, I need about 750 or so grams of liquid. And the honey's gonna count towards that, as is the orange juice. Let's see what we got for water so far. 144. This is a 1 cup measure. I'm just going to do about, just eyeball a half a cup of honey. The oranges that I bought are Cara oranges. So I think they have like a nice sweetness. We'll see. Okay. Now I know the cranberries I'm going to be using are dried craisins from Ocean Spray. And they're sweetened. So, all right, let's put this in here. If you don't have honey, you can use maple syrup. If you do use maple syrup, try to use real maple syrup, not like the pancake syrup, which is really kind of corn syrup with some flavorings. Or you know what? You could just use an amount of brown sugar. I would say I have a cup and just melt that in with the liquid. All right, so that's that. Set that over here. And we're at 273. So now we're going to start juicing our oranges. Let's see how is that going to go? That should be interesting. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? That almost looks like a grapefruit, doesn't it? I don't know if you can get the color that well from here. Oh, it smells good, but I don't see any seeds. So I'm just going to try. Let me get my reamer. Hang on. Okay, I've had this handy dandy gadget for quite some time, and I'll tell you what, if you want to get out as much juice as there is in a piece of citrus, this is your, I was going to say this is your man, but no, it's not a man. I'm getting a little bit of pulp, but I don't care. That's just going to be more flavor. It's all going to go towards the weight. I think I'm going to put in the 2 oranges and then make it up with the rest of the juice. Oh, I see a little seed. All right, so that means I am going to have to get out my strainer. Another trip to the all right, let's scoop those 2 boyos out and keep on going. Reamer, there you are. Okay. That smells good. You might say, Kathy, can I just use like a carton of orange juice from the grocery store? Sure you can. The one thing you won't have though is you won't have the zest. So you might not have as intense an orangey flavor. You know, I mean, the zest really does contribute a fair amount. Whoops, did I turn that off? Do not tell me. All right, comedy of errors, here we go. Now I'm going to have to start all over again. All right, I need another container. You know, sometimes cooking it real gets pretty dang real. And it gets pretty dang ridiculous. If you want to see a great example of that, check out our video about making gnocchi. Oh, that was a trip. Okay, here we go. Where are we at? 318. All right, so we're going to use this one. And I don't know whether I did it from leaning over or something. I don't know. But let's see. Just trying to muscle this. Ugh. Yeah. It smells so good. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, if you are like me and you're a dehydrator, if you've dehydrated any lemon peel, not lemon peel, orange peel, you could use that. If you didn't want to use a fresh orange and have orange juice from the carton, so long as it isn't like sweetened. You want pure orange juice that's just naturally sweet. And then you could take your dried orange zest or orange peel and reconstitute it and just chop it all up real good. And that would be good too. All right. So this is just about ready. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna finish off with water. Now I'm at 368, 369. I think that's gonna be good. Get some water. I want to go to, I think I'm going to go to like 735. 648. 664. I think I'm going to do another half an orange. And let me show you what I did to zest it while I have you all watching. I have my bigger, fatter zester here, and I just ran it around this guy like so. And I've already collected up about a good 2 tablespoons. And this will be even more delicious, but I'm going to save the zest and I'm going to add it later, and I'll show you that. Just stay tuned. So this is going to take me a little bit of a while, but it's just going to go real quick for y'all. Okay. I might have that for a snack while I'm waiting for this to autolyze. All right. Here we go. Here's the last. Let's see if I can just go. No, I'm too wimpy. If you have an easy peasy lemon squeezy thing, you can use that, or one of those ones. That would work just as good. Oh my gosh, my thing went off again. Maybe I'm just taking too long between moves. All right, we can do it. Just do it like we did it the last time. Because our honey's all melted in, our orange juice is all melted in, so we're not really worried about anything here. Thank you. All right, now, once again, we're at 0. Woo! And we're looking for what did I say? 7. Oh, spilling everywhere. Wow. 654. Now we're going to have to go back because I need a bigger thing. I'm going to put more water in. We're at 0. 653. All right, let's see. So we need about 80 grams, let's just say. All right, 652 it says. 723, 741, good enough. Remember, I mentioned this in that first video, when you're weighing water as opposed to flour and things like that, water is way heavier. So a smaller amount of water is going to weigh a lot more than a large amount of flour. So if you're pouring the water onto your vessel that's on your scale, go slow. Okay? Okay. All right. So now shove the mess off to the side. We're going to bring back our flour, and to it we're going to add our liquid, orange juice, honey, and water. I'm going to take my Danish whisk and I'm going to mix that all together. It's going to become kind of hard to mix. But that's okay. Everything changes over time. It's really kind of amazing. And you'll see what I mean as we go along. You just want to try to get the majority of the flour mushed. The majority of the flour mushed in with the water. And I do that, like once it gets to be like this, like I see sort of a moisture part of my dough, and I just mash it into a little flour pocket and kind of collect it up and move it along. All right. Almost. Okay. All right, I'm calling it. That's pretty well mixed. So get this big chunky bit off here. And then we're going to cover this with a damp tea towel, clean damp tea towel. And we're going to let it rest for 45 minutes. And as we wait for the 45 minutes, I'm going to clean up this mess. All right, see you back in 45. After 45 minutes, we're going to bring this baby back, put it on the scale, and do our next additions. All right, we're zeroed out. We need 20 grams of salt. And I am using a combination of kosher salt and Redmond's real salt. You can use whatever salt you like. You can use sea salt. You can use Himalayan pink salt. You can use Celtic salt, gray salt. I don't know that I'd use table salt, but it's up to you. All right, so 10 grams of each, and just sprinkle it over the top. Okay, that's 10 of that. And we want to go to 20. And, if you're on a sodium restricted diet, you might want to cut back a little bit on the salt, but you do not want to eliminate it, because nothing tastes more like nothing than homemade bread with no salt. So that's just the way it is. 20. All right, got it on the nose. All right, so right on top of that, I'm going to add my sourdough starter. Now I fed this guy. This guy was in the refrigerator. And I took some out this morning and fed him, and he came up to about here. So he's doubled, started to go down just a tiny bit. So I'm gonna give you a close up so you can see how beautiful it is. Hang on. Can you see this guy? Can you see him? Let's see if I can get better light. There we go. Ooh, now look inside. Ooh, isn't that pretty? All right. I'm going to use about 200 grams. So back to 0. And let's just see what we get. Just pour it right on top. Sometimes I use like between 150 and 200. This is 193. I'm going to just give it a little bit more because I think, okay, 209. When I put the cranberries in, they're kind of a little heavy. They have some density to them. And so they're going to weigh the dough down a little bit maybe. And so I want to make sure that I have just a little bit extra lift to compensate for the weight of the cranberries. Now, if this is your first time making sourdough and you're really following along, the next part you have to do by actual hands, okay? And even to mix in the sourdough starter and the salt. You probably, if you've been wanting to do it and reading about it, you've heard about the flip and folds or the stretch and folds. Well, this is kind of like the first stretch and fold, but you really got to go in with your hands. And every time, the first time I realized that I was going to have to do that, I thought, oh, it's going to be crazy, disgustingly gross, but it wasn't. But I always have to ask my nail technician, my dear friend Corrine, to forgive me for using my jewels as tools. But here you go. You just put your hand in under the dough and fold it over. You fold it over like towards yourself, like this. Flip and fold. Flip and fold. I hope you can see this. And flip and fold. Woo! And flip and fold. And you do it like, I just generally do it like 4 times in a row, flip and fold. But this had a little more flour on the bottom than normal, so I just gave it a 5th turn. Usually I try to do it like the 4 points of the compass. And now we're going to take that damp towel, we're going to put it back on this guy, and we're going to give him another rest for 30 minutes. And while we're resting, I'm going to give my starter just a little feed and get him back in the fridge. So I'll see you in 30. Okay, 30 minutes later. Now this is going to be our first official flip and fold. Okay, so this is what it looks like after resting for 30 minutes. Let's see, what's that? That's nothing. That's nothing too. Oh, I know what is part of the red with real salt. All right, flip and fold. Hand in, lift up, turn over. Hand in, lift up, turn over. Hand in, lift up, give it a little shake, 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 turn over. One more time, lift and shake and turn, and there you go. All right, another 30 minutes. See you, buddy. Number 2, lift and fold. What you're doing here is you are forming or helping form the structure of the gluten. And that's why you have to relax the dough in between each flip and fold. There. I think that was 4. We'll do one more just in case. All right, number 2 is done. Okay, on flip and fold number 3, we're going to add the orange zest, I have, this is the zest of 2.5 oranges, which is how much juice I added. We're just gonna sprinkle that around just a little bit, kind of distribute it a little bit more, but as we do our flip and folds, it will distribute. And our 2 cups of cranberries, dried cranberries, or these are the Craisin brand. And that looks like an awful lot. Let me give it one flip and fold and see how that feels. Let's see, 1, 2, yeah, 3, and 4, and give it a good shake, and 5. I don't know. I think that might be enough. The recipe said 1 cup for 1 loaf, so this is 2 loaves. So I think I'm going to add like just a 1.5 cups. Okay. And so this is the 3rd flip and fold. We're going to do 2 more. And then this baby's going to go into the fridge and proof and ferment overnight. All right, everybody just relax in there. Get your little blankie on again, and we'll see you in another 30. Okay, the last flip and fold of the evening. And then this baby is going to get covered up and put in the fridge until the morning. And then I'll show you the next steps. It's going to look so different in the morning. All right, everybody, get on in there. All right, we'll see you in the morning. Good night, everyone. Good morning. This baby has spent the night in the fridge, and now we're ready to see how it's looking. Off with your cover. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, let's turn it out onto a floured surface, and we'll get it ready for the next step. Okay. Let's get a little bit of flour down. And get my spatula and turn this baby out. Can you see all the orange speckles from the, oh, come on. Now I'm kind of glad I didn't put in all the cranberries, because that's a lot. All right. See how this feels. Oh, yeah. All right, I'm going to cut this into 2 loaves. Where's my, here it is. Look at this. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay. We're going to get these ready for the pans. I got my pans prepped with parchment. Now, the recipe said, didn't have parchment, but it said to spray the pans. Now, I don't know why that is, but I'm just going to give my parchment a little spray just to be on the safe side. 1 and 2. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this beautiful dough and give it a tight roll, like so. And I'm going to smush the ends in a little bit, poke in any cranberries that are sticking out. We don't want them to get too toasty on the top. Poke them in. All right. And here's our seam. So we're going to roll that and make it tight. Okay. Get my pan. In you go. And now this is going to have its afternoon of rising. Do the same for this guy. Give him a nice tight roll. Okay. Poke in the ends. Here's my seam. Let's get that kind of pinched close. This one has way more cranberries, it seems. Let's just go like this. Tuck in the ends. Taking you out. Yeah, go a little bit lighter on the cranberries. We'll see how it turns out in the end. Okay. Get you in your pan. All right, now I'm just going to find a nice warm space for these guys to hang out and get their next rise on. And then we'll be back when they're risen and ready to go in the oven. These loaves have spent the last couple hours rising very nicely. And so it's time to set my oven to 450 degrees. I'm going to bake it for 25 minutes and then turn my oven off, crack the door, and let it sit for another 25. But first, I'm going to spritz them with a little bit of water. So I let the loaf cool overnight, and take a look at this. Is this not gorgeous? Isn't that beautiful? Oh, you can smell the orange. I mean, it's really, really pronounced. I love it. All right, let's give this a slice. The moment of truth. Oh, let's see. Where should I start? I think I'm going to give it a spin, and I'm going to cut it like right about here. Oh. Let's see. Ooh. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Here, let me see if I can show you up close. What do you think? Those cranberries, I can smell those, and the orange. Oh, I love it. All right, well, truth be told, we've already cut the other loaf, and we've already ate about half of it. So I can tell you that it is absolutely delicious. And I'm so glad that you joined me on this adventure today. If you want to see more sourdough content, let me know in the comments, and we'll see what we can do, okay? All right. And also, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye.